Hello guys, welcome to my Motogp 2021 livery ranking list. I'll be going through all 13 different liveries. I'm ranking it based on how good it looks in general on track. I'm judging it based on what they might have done in terms of changing it from last year, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, if they've kept it the same or if they've changed it and gone down the wrong route. And yeah, just overall my opinion really. This is nothing that I feel like is something that's factual. If you feel differently, feel free to let me know down in the comments if you disagree. But yeah, let's get into it. So starting off with number 13, I have Aprilia. Personally, I'm just not a big fan of this bike this year. I was a few years ago when they used to have the Now TV kind of livery with the white, green, red. But yeah, I think this year they've taken away a lot of the green in the middle of the fairing. I'll post a picture on the screen now so that you can see the comparison from this year to previous years. But this year they have just black and red. I did like the little tribute to Fausto in the winglets they did for pre-season. I am recording this as pre-season is currently underway, so yeah, I did see that. I think it was yesterday or the day before, first day of testing. But yeah, that's a great little touch, as well as I think a lot of the tributes around the paddock have been great for Fausto, God rest his soul. But yeah, onto the livery. I'm just not a big fan. There's no colour. There's nothing splitting up the red and the black, because I think if you use black, you've got to either go with a colour that matches with it, or if you have something like red and black, which can work, I think like with Ducati you need red with black, not black with red. Just simply because I know this is Aprilia's colours. I know they've used black in the past, especially during the two-stroke era, but mainly my point is it's not very colourful. There's not much going on. The sponsors are pretty, they don't add any colour, they don't add any character to the livery itself. So yeah, personally Aprilia is my least favourite out of the lot. So moving on to number 12, I have LCR, but I do have Taka's LCR, actually below Alex Marquez's LCR. A lot of people I've seen on Twitter and Instagram have been rating the Alex LCR a lot worse, and they don't like the blue, they don't like the green and the red. But yeah, personally I'm not a big fan of the gold that they've added from last year's LCR on Nakagami's bike. As you can see on screen here, last year this was red across here, and although I'm not a big fan of the Honda Team Asia colours, like the red with the white, it's just not my kind of thing. I think it's pretty bland. There's not much going on. It's not a bad livery. I can see why people would like it, but personally I'm not a big fan. I mean, for a Japanese rider, white and red goes great, but me personally, I'm just not a big fan. And relating to what I said at the start of the video in comparison to what they did last year and what they're doing this year, I think this bike is worse than last year's. It's simply because of the gold. I really don't like the gold. I think it takes away not the symmetry, but the red and white theme. I just don't think the gold fits anywhere. It doesn't, for me anyway. I don't think it fits. But yeah, that's my opinion on the LCR. Some people love it, some people really like the gold, but me personally, I'm not a fan. Okay, so number 11, we have Alex's LCR. A lot of people have been split on this bike. As you can see on screen, they've gone for LCR tend to mix around with their livery with Cal across the last few years, all the way from like 2015 and even through the year. They'll go with Castrol, and then they'll have the GV kind of main themed bike. And personally, the green and the red and the white, I don't mind. I think it looks alright, but the blue as well, there's no theme for me. I don't get a theme. It feels like they've just kind of picked any random colours and just gone with it. The Castrol always looks great on most bikes, but that tends to be when it's just a theme on its own, like with the Aprilia. The Aprilia has the Castrol at the bottom and then that's it. That's all they have. So even with Alex's suit, there's blue boots, black knee sliders, green around the knee slider, and then you've got like the red and white on his thigh and his torso kind of area. Then the blue, for me personally, I'm not a fan. I don't really get where it's going. The reason I think it's better than the other one is because, yes, they are random colours, but I think these colours suit the LCR team better, and it stands out a little bit more vibrant, a bit more going on. So for that, I rate it above Taka's. But yeah, we have the LCR Marquez bike at 11. Now, this one is very controversial because I know there's a lot of people that love their bikes every single year, and they do tend to change slightly every year, but I'll explain why I have this bike at number 10. So, at number 10, we have Ducati, the factory team. Now, the reason I went with this is because, mainly, there's too much red, and me personally, I'm not a big fan of red anyway, but I don't mind the previous Ducati liveries like this, where there's red and white and a nice proportion of blue going on with that bike. It's the white and red match, they look great, and the blue just splits it up a little bit to make it not look too basic. So this year's bike, there's red all over, and then you've got the Lenovo sponsors in black, and then the black behind the numbers. Me personally, I don't know why it triggers me so much, but the black behind the numbers I don't like at all. It's too dark. I think it looks so much better with white, just to add a bit of brightness to the bike. I don't know. I like dark bikes, don't get me wrong, but with red, and then just bits of black, it's like, I don't really, there's not much. But don't get me wrong, I think the red of Ducati looks great on most bikes every single year. I just think they're going a little bit too overboard on the red. But I mean, I could be in the minority. I think I am, because a lot of people love Ducati liveries. But it's just my opinion. Okay, so moving on to number 9, we have Repsol Honda. Now, me not being the biggest Repsol Honda fan, I was quite reluctant to even put them this high up because, as everybody knows who will be watching this, Repsol Honda have the same livery year in, year out. But there is a reason I put them above the previous teams. Every single team that I have listed previous to this has changed their bike from last year, but in my opinion they have changed it to a worse bike. So LCR with Taka, I think it's worse. Marquez's, I think it's worse. I think the Aprilia's less colourful, not a fan, and the Ducati I think was better looking last year than it is this year. The Honda stays the same, so for me it'd be hard for me to say I think it's worse than the others. Not that I'm judging them all on previous years, but this bike is colourful. The Repsol colours are iconic. You know, a lot of people will be slating me for putting it this low, but yeah, the fact that it's not changed, I can't really put a livery that is literally identical for decades and decades at the top. I think that'd be ridiculous. It would defeat the point of ranking liveries in a sense of creativity and, you know, just overall versatility in what they produce every year. So for me, I'm not going to put Repsol any higher than that. I think the orange rims, it's the only bike that they can pull off orange rims and it look cool. But I mean, Repsol is the same every year. If you go back 20 years, it's the same bike. They've just added more and more orange, more and more Repsol as time's gone on. So yeah, me personally, not a big fan, but yeah, Repsol at number 9. Okay, so number 8, we're approaching near to midpoint, not far away now. I have Enea Bastianini's Avintia Ducati, and I actually don't mind this bike. Last year and some of the other years, they've gone with the black. Although I did like the black, they've reverted back to the blue with a hint of black, but that navy blue, along with Enea's pink and blue around the number, I think look great. The yellow might not be everybody's taste, but it's for the Mugen Race sponsor. I think without the yellow, it would be very bland. It doesn't really add too much in terms of, like, it doesn't ruin the bike. It adds a little bit of brightness to it. You know, it's nothing too much. I think they've got the balance right with the sponsor of Avintia on the side. Not absolutely spammed with sponsors, but the blue, the black, it's not too different. I think some teams in previous years that have gone with blue and black, if you go for a too light of a blue with black, it kind of doesn't really match. But like Yamaha, Avintia have hit the nail on the head here. I think it's a good livery, just not as good as the next 7. So Avintia, Bastianini bike, number 8. Okay, so moving on to number 7, we have Luca Marini's Avintia Ducati. Now, the reason I think this is better than Enea Bastianini's bike is simply because the Sky livery is just great. I love the Sky livery. It's not too basic, but it is basic at the same time. But they've kind of created this with the Moto3, Moto2 team, where they have the Sky with the blue ring around it and the VR46 patched on the side. It's simple but effective. It matches great with the bike. The VR46 bends around the tail of the bike and just looks great. The colours are very similar to Enea's. Obviously they're not Avintia colours, they are Sky VR46 colours, but they're similar. The black looks stealthy, it looks mean, and that's another thing with the liveries, is I think with some of these bikes that are in the top half of the ratings for me, is they've kind of got to have a bit of character. When you look at them, you think, you know, that looks like a proper MotoGP bike. It looks like it's a racing bike, and this, I think, is where the tables start to turn, and this bike looks like a racing bike. Not that the others look like road bikes, but I think you know what I mean, in that they have that mean side to them. So yeah, I love this livery with the monster as well. Nice little touch there. With the VR46 friends, sponsors, whatever you want to class them as. I think this bike looks great. I've seen it out on track at Qatar as of yesterday with Luca on it. Currently struggling a little bit to adapt, but it's still early days. But yeah, I think it's a nice looking bike, and that's number 7. Okay, so number 6, I have Pramac Ducati, the top Ducati out of 4 liveries? Yeah, 4. A lot of people, when they released this livery as of last year, really didn't like it. Me personally, I think it's great. With the split white, red and blue, it doesn't look too generic, and it doesn't look too like they're trying too hard to go for something really different. They've got this nice livery pattern where it splits the white up, the blue just veering around the fairing, just around here beside the Pramac logo, and then you've got like shades of white down at the bottom with the blue, and overall the red covering most of the fairing, the tail. I just think looks great. I really like it. I think it just matches the bike, and I think the previous Pramac bikes with the Octo sponsors have looked a little bit too, without sounding too harsh, they've looked like a B team. With all due respect, I think they look like a B team, whereas this bike looks the business. It looks like a factory bike. It looks like a MotoGP bike at the end of the day. It looks like a livery that means business. I know this is Octo sponsored as well, but the previous Octo sponsors with the white and like lime green around like the Yoni Hernandez kind of time. I'm just thinking of riders that rode for them, even like when Petrucci rode for them in 2015, around that kind of time. They were just transitioning into the white and red, but I think the addition of the blue adds that little bit extra to the livery that just is the cherry on top. I think it's great. So yeah, top 6 for Pramac. I think I said top 5 when I introduced it, but it is 6th Pramac. But yeah, now on to the top 5. Patronus. Now, a lot of people will straight away, looking in the background, say to me, you're only saying this because it's Rossi, Anybody that knows me will say, you're only doing this because of Rossi. No, not at all. I in fact did, not a video, but I did something like this last year where I kind of in my head came up with pretty much the same concept, and I really like the Patronus livery simply because the Patronus, I don't want to call it blue and I don't want to call it green, it's like a turquoise kind of colour. I think it's the colour of that not many people could get on a bike, get away with it and it make it look good. But the simplicity of that colour with the black and the sponsors that go with it, I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but them colours, they just look great to me, which might completely divert and contrast what I've been saying previously about the Aprilia, about, you know, the Avintias, in that they're simple but they're down there, and now I'm saying this is simple but it's up there. I think the Patronus colour of turquoise, if you like, with even with Rossi's yellow, Morbidelli's green, I think that might sway me a little bit, because I think the numbers do have a bit of an effect. Like, I really enjoyed the Mia and Max that Aleix Espargaro used on the Aprilia with, I think he still uses it now for this year, but with the pink and the yellow and the grade patterns in the middle. I think that made that bike look 10 times better, even the number. So yeah, I think the Patronus bike's great. There's nothing too much going on. Simple, effective, suits the bike, suits that Yamaha looking front fairing, the tail, even the swinging arm, where there's some bikes around the swinging arm tend to like just completely spam it with sponsors that don't really match the bike, whereas on the Patronus bike you've got the Monster at the bottom, you've got the Michelin, you've got the PBR and a few others sitting around there, but other than that there's nothing too much, it's just right. So for me, Patronus, number 5. Okay, so number 4, I have the Red Bull KTM. Now, before anyone thinks you said Repsol Honda don't change and you've put them down in number 9 and that's not fair, whatever, I put them at number 9 because it hasn't changed and the livery is what it is for me. I don't think it's unbelievably fantastic. I think it's alright. It's iconic, but it is what it is. I'm not a massive fan. However, the Red Bull KTM livery, for me, is one of those most overlooked liveries that is the same every year, but I don't know what they do to it every year, but it just looks better every year, even though they don't change anything really. In fact, I don't even know if they have changed anything. The Red Bull and the KTM is literally, as you can see here on the screen, is literally all of that, like all the side panel across to the whole tank, yet it just works. It just works. Even though the Red Bull logo has not one bit of orange in it, the red matches the KTM orange at the bottom with the yellow and the red of the Bull on the bike, and then the front, just the I think it's more the placement of things. It's more the placement, because I kind of like the symmetry of the way, the angle the tail is facing. They have that KTM split down there, so it's all on that nice angle, and then as well with the placement of the Red Bull logo on the top, it's not too big. You know, some people at the concepts before the bike actually got introduced in 2016, I think it was, going into 2017. I can't remember the year that they came in. I think it was one of those two. A lot of people were thinking that they were going to use this logo here as like a bull either side with the yellow and the number in the middle, and I really didn't like that. So I'm glad they didn't put that in. But yeah, this livery, overlooked, 100% overlooked, smashes it out of the park. In the flesh, I can tell you now, it just looks a stunning bike. So, number 3, we're getting to the top 3 now, and we have Suzuki at number 3. Last year's Suzuki was, as well as the bike performance, the livery on it, they came out compared to 2019, just stunning. It was just stunning. The nice touch as well for the 100th anniversary of Suzuki to add that grey or silver, if you like, across the side of the bike. At first, very, very first glance, I thought, I'm not sure. But then as soon as I got a viewing of the whole bike and saw it out on track, I thought, wow, that is a stunning bike. As well as the front of the bike, before they had the yellow, and it was kind of not cluttered, but last year they kind of wiped it and it was just blue with the rider's number on, with Mia and Rinz's number, and it just looked clean. It looked empty, but enough. It didn't look blank. It just looked like a racing bike, and I think that is what a lot of bikes nowadays look like, in terms of, you look at the front of it, and before you've even looked anywhere other than the number, there are 20 sponsors, which I mean, I'm all for sponsors. Obviously, that's what makes you go around every year. That's what makes you a racing team. You have to get money from somewhere. But placement in terms of a livery just looks bang on. It just looks bang on. This bike does. This year they've added, I can't remember if it was here last year. I could be wrong, but I don't think they were here last year, with the Suzuki logo here, with the X-Star logo. I think it looks fine. It matches with the number on both bikes, really. It looks great. And they've added the monster to the bottom of the side panels of the bike, and I think that is what makes this livery from last year's, it adds that aggressive side to it. Last year's bike, stunning bike, looked fantastic. Under the lights at Qatar last year, I thought that is one of the best looking bikes Suzuki have arguably ever made. And you know, even going back to like the Rizzler Suzukis, and even Suzukis from the 70s and 80s and 90s, I thought that last year's Suzuki was unbelievably great in terms of how well it looked out on track. This year's Suzuki, I think, is better looking. I think this is the best Suzuki livery ever. I don't know why it changes my opinion with the monster, other than the fact it just does look aggressive. It looks mean. It adds that racing aspect to it. I think if you have like a monster or a Red Bull on it, you kind of know that you know what I mean. So yeah, Suzuki, they've kept the silver on because I think they knew from last year everyone loved it. They've kept the Suzuki silver on. The blue looks unbelievable. At Qatar, if you look at the recent, I might put some out on the screen right now, but the Suzuki at Qatar under the lights just looks stunning. It looks absolutely stunning. But yeah, will they win another title this year? I don't know. I'm going to do my prediction video for where people finish soon, but not yet. We have 2 more bikes to finish off this list with the liveries. So yeah, number 2. Okay, so number 2 for me is Monster Yamaha. Yes, it's the same bike, pretty much. In fact, it is the same bike as the previous 2 years. But this bike, to me, is the epitome of a racing bike. You've got big Monster Energy logos on each side. The Yamaha blue is one of the most beautiful colours on a racing bike. If you put it on a car, put it on a bike, you put it on a tricycle, that colour looks stunning. It's beautiful. The blue goes so well on that bike. It always has, it always will. Yamaha always have great liveries, and I'm not even saying that as a Yamaha fan. I'm saying that as a genuine admirer of the creative side of Yamaha. Every single year they release a livery. I just love it. I think it looks great. The black with the lines. I've never really been a big fan of like stripes on football shirts or stripes on many things, but that is just the right amount of like, it's not too in your face and it's not blank with having it like fading in and out, because then I think it looks a bit too like you're trying too hard. But yeah, what a bike, what a stunning bike. I think Fabio's, as you can see on this image right here, with Fabio having a red number, the red helmet, the red on his leathers, a little bit like Lorenzo when he went for, you know, like the red X. They had like the red one side, the white the other, and then Maverick the same. He tends to go with like a white, and he likes grey. He goes with a lot of grey stuff, even with like his 2016 going into 2017 testing livery and previous custom helmets. He goes with the grey. I think it looks amazing, looks unreal. But it is not number one. Number one on this list is none other than the KTM Tech Three. This bike, if you don't like this bike, then I'm sorry, but I don't know what your opinion is on this bike, other than it just is perfect. It's perfect. I've never seen a more KTM looking bike, and I'm not just saying that because it's orange. Again, it's the placement, it's what's on the bike. It's just, the first time I looked at it, I remember just saying that is a KTM, without sounding like I'm stating the obvious, because I am. But I looked at it and went, that's a KTM. That looks like a proper KTM bike. And Tech 3 have absolutely smashed it out of the park with this livery. The orange, and I'm not just saying it because it's orange and there's no other orange bike, arguably the KTM factory team, but this KTM, the orange and the black, is the best match of proportion of black to orange. The placement, it's the placement, it's the clean look of, there's not too many sponsors going on. The ELF, the KTM again on that same angle side of like going with the shape of the bike, ready to race, RC16 on the side. Just everything about this bike I absolutely love. I can't wait to see it out on track. I hope to see it out on track in person this year, whether it be abroad, whether it be at Silverstone, wherever it might be. This bike is going to be a stunner out on track, and I tell you what, I don't think many people can disagree with me. Even if you don't have it as your top bike, it's a good looking bike. It's a beautiful bike. So yeah, KTM Tech 3, number one. Yeah, that's it for me in terms of the top 13, I suppose, the Motogp liveries ranking list of 2021. If you want to see any more lists, or you want to give me any feedback, comment down below. Let me know what you want to see. Feel free to leave a like as well. That would help. That'd be great. I love doing stuff like this. I will be doing more stuff like this. I'll be doing my predictions for 2021. Probably top 10. I don't know if I'll do the whole grid. I'll be doing my constructors predictions. I'll be doing some podcasts maybe. I'll be doing a lot of content around university when I find time. I've got a few people that I might be getting involved for future content and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my top 13. Let me know in the comments, like I say, what you think is maybe your best, your worst, if you disagree, if you agree, or whatever your opinions may be. I would genuinely love to hear them, and I'm more than happy to have a chat about whatever it might be in the comments down below, or my Discord. I will leave a link down below to my Discord. Feel free to join and yeah, have discussions on there. But until I make another video, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you later.